We have come to the final part of classification of lexical verbs. This is part 4. If you are yet to watch part 1 to 3, the links to this part are in the comment section. Do well to go watch them. In this video, we want to look at lexical verbs as finite and non-finite verbs. Now, finite verbs are verbs that are able to change their forms for number, person, and tense. I will explain. But then let us talk about non-finite verbs. Non-finite verbs are verbs that do not change their forms for number, person, and tense. Now, what do we mean by number, person, and tense? Let us start with number. By number, it means the number of subjects of the sentence. It could be plural or singular. Finite verbs are able to change their form to agree with the number of subjects in the sentence. Let's look at example. My children like apples. Example 2. My child likes apple. In the first sentence, the subject is plural. My children, more than one. And so the verb has to be in the plural form, like, to agree with the subject. Now here, my child is singular, and because it is singular, the verb has to change its form to assume the singular so as to agree with the number of subject, which is 1. Okay, so verbs that are able to change their form according to number of subjects are finite verbs. Next, let's talk about person. Now, by person, we mean first person, second person, and third person. Finite verbs change their form according to person. Here we have, she drives a Prado Jeep. Sentence 2, I drive a Prado Jeep. And sentence 3, you drive a Prado Jeep. In the first sentence, the subject she is third person singular. And so the verb is in the singular form to agree with the subject. In the second sentence, we have first person as subject, and the verb has to change its form to be drive so as to agree with the first person subject. And in the third sentence, we have second person, and once again, the verb is in the plural form to agree with the second person. So verbs that are able to change their form according to person are finite verb. Next is tense. We mean past tense, present tense, and future tense. Example, he plays tennis ball. Sentence 2, he played tennis ball with his friend yesterday. Sentence 3, he will play tennis ball tonight. In the first sentence, the subject is singular, plays is in the present tense. Okay? Second sentence, we have he played tennis ball with his friend yesterday. He's talking about past time. And the verb has to be in the what? In the past tense. It changes its form. Now we have he will play tennis tonight. This action is yet to take place. It is in the future. And the verb has to assume this form to agree with the future time. So verbs that are able to change their form for number, for person, and for tense are finite verbs. Now let's talk about non-finite verbs. We have established earlier that non-finite verbs do not change their forms. They remain unchanged irrespective of the number of subject, person, or the tense of the sentence. So we start with number, and here we have our sentence. Here, look at it. My children is plural. The subject is plural. And here we have like, which agree with the subject. But here is another verb, which is eat, combined with to. Here we have to eat. Then look at the second sentence. My child, this is singular subject, and we have to eat. You notice that to eat in both sentences, even though the subject have changed, to eat remain the same. So to eat is a non-finite verb. Let's look at person. First sentence, she is running to school. Second sentence, I am running to school. And third sentence, you are running to school. Now look at the first sentence, she is running to school. We have a verb here, running. Now the subject is third person. Now here we have first person and the verb remains running. Here we have second person and the verb remains running. So you find out that irrespective of the person, first, second, or third, the verb running remains unchanged. Running, therefore, is a non-finite verb. Let's look at tense. Sentence 1. He has taken breakfast. Sentence 2. He had taken breakfast. Now, first sentence says he has taken breakfast. Has shows we are talking about present time, present perfect. And here we have he had taken breakfast. Had shows we are talking about past time, past perfect. In both present and past time, the verb taken remains the same. Therefore, taken is a non-finite verb. Now, how do you actually know non-finite verbs? Here is it. 1. All verbs preceded by the infinitive to. The word to is called the infinitive word. Any verb preceded by to is a non-finite verb. A good example is what you have here, to eat. Second one, all present participle verbs. All verbs in ing form are non-finite verb. Example is what you have here, running. Why? We have the third class, which are all past participle verbs. Past participle verbs are non-finite, like you have here, taken. Now, all other verbs in English language that do not belong to any of these three categories are finite verbs. Alright, this is your exercise. We have a complex sentence here. It reads, he likes to speak. He spoke yesterday and he has started speaking again this morning. You are to classify each of the underlined verbs as either finite or non-finite. Put your answer in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching.